Hi, welcome. Today is 1 month after I have imported the Hoyas from Thailand from Asean Plant Export. So I received my previous order on 12th of October and today is 11th of November. I know that I've uploaded the video just a week ago, but it was just because I don't have time to look through it and then to edit the video. So yes, so last week when I posted the video, that is actually the third week after I have imported plants from Thailand. And because it's 1 month and considering that I'm really interested in looking into people's plant update after their import, especially when it's during the autumn/winter time. You want to know how plants actually grow through. Can we actually import plants during autumn time? I don't think it's a good idea in winter when everything is like below the freezing point. But still, can we just try to catch the last train to get last order? Anyhow, today I'm going to go through the comparison between a month before and a month after, and to go through each of the plant I have imported from Asean Plant Export. 2 plants did not manage to make it. One is the cutting, Hoya Sipitangensis, and another one is the Hoya Picta. That one, as I mentioned, I can show you in the side, it's a very yellowed plant. When I received it, I don't think it's because of the pigmentation, I think it's dying. And for Sipitangensis, I think it's a relatively smaller cutting and the stem just didn't make it. Yes, but for the rest, I did manage to see some progress. It depends on species to species, but it's good to know that it is possible and just need to be patient. Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look. Let's start with the cutting. I have imported 3 cuttings. One is this Manipurensis. I also have Collina and also Sipitangensis. Unfortunately, Sipitangensis didn't make it, but for the other 2, I have some progress. So start with this Manipurensis. First, I have ordered 3 different cutting. One of the cutting rotted out, and these are the 2 that actually is doing pretty good. If you can see the smaller leaves over here, this one over here, these 2 are new, and also there's another bigger one. So 3 of them are actually new. And if you see closer, there are some grow point. And for the another cutting, this is slightly slower, but it's pushing out 2 new leaves over here. So I am pretty happy that it worked. So I have rooted it with PON. You can take a look at the picture or video that I'm going to upload on the side compared to the ones that I have received just a month ago. So this one, the growth is pretty nice. I rooted in PON and yeah, this has made some progress, even it's in autumn time. So I'm pretty happy. It's almost mid-November now. So yeah, Manipurensis. And the second one, this one is Collina. So if you remember, I can put the reference on the side of what I have received before. I've ordered 2 cuttings of Collina. Unfortunately, one of them has rotted out in the stem. And this one, interestingly, all of the leaves that I received, I got 4 leaves originally. All of them dropped out. I was almost about to throw this one away. And then I found that it looks like there is some green stuff happening on this end. At the time, it's minimal, like that one over there. And I was like, yeah, maybe I can try it instead of like chucking it right away. But then after a month, this is a new leaf. It's very sun stressed because I put just next to the window seal. And then for this one here, it just come out a couple of days ago. And then there are some new growth point as well. And then on the another side, this is also where originally there are 2 leaves. It comes out 1 leaf. So I believe, as I explained briefly in the unboxing, the root seems to be healthy. When I unboxed this one of them, I remember I said on the right hand side, the one seems to be more rethrivable. So yes, after a month, it grow some new leaves even purely on a stem without any leaves on. So this is Hoya Collina. All right, then we move on to other ones that I can go for the Hoya Baku first, because this is the one that I think it doesn't have very nice root system. Basically, it is a big plant and all of the stem are rotten, or all of the roots are rotten out. And even the stem itself seems to be very soft and limb, which could potentially mean that the stem itself is not alive. And at that time, I have cut off a lot of the parts, and I thought I wouldn't be able to revive this one because it's just very bad in the condition. However, I tried. First of all, this one is the bigger part, which attached to the existing root, just that all of them has been rotten out. So these are the two cutting with existing roots which has been rotten out. And this one here is purely cuttings from one stem. We can start with this original one. Here, this one, Hoya Baku, I haven't really found anything about it online. Regardless, it's on YouTube or on Google, I can't find anything. But apparently this, upon of my 1 month experience, this takes a bit of time to root. And after 1 full month, I think I managed to at least save this part. If you can see, there's a new growth point here. And this is the main stem. It actually grows slower than the one that I cut off. I'm going to show you just in a minute. And here it has some air root. This one just grown in a couple of days ago, like a couple of days ago. So I've chopped off a lot of this one here. And all of the cutting that I'm showing you right now, I rooted it in pond, which I really recommend. And then you can see this tiny one here. This one has quite a bit of new growth. Let me turn around. If you can see over here, these are 2 new leaves that popped out, I think around a week ago. I didn't even know this one survived because I can't see any roots, and it's just continuously drying out and dying off. So I'm pleasantly surprised that there are actually new leaves that came out. And then if I turn around here, this you can actually see over here, there are new leaves as well. So there's a new leaf on that armpit area that has grown out. And yeah, and this is 1 leaf cutting, or let me see. Yeah, this one here, I have 2 leaves for this cutting, and it also pushed out some roots. If you can see here, that are some roots that grown. So at least this one managed to survive. So I'm really happy about this because I really haven't heard anything or document that has mentioned about this one anywhere else. So maybe it is a different name that is used to be identified, but I bought this one as Hoya Baku. All right, then we can go over to another very weak one that I thought I won't be able to retrieve, because at the time when I received this one, you can see it on the reference on the right hand side that I can show you what I received as. This one, it was really soft, and all of the stem, because it's really thin, it's so hard to actually root it in water, because I realized that the thinner the stems are, it's easier for it to rot, especially when it is not in summer. When it's not as warm, when the temperature is between like 10 to maybe 20, that's not the optimal point for them to grow. But I can zoom in to show you the roots that actually pushed out. There are so many different roots that pushed out on the edge of the stem. So it was really limb throughout the time. I think around 2 weeks ago, it started plumping up all of the leaves. And this is at least it tells me that the plant is hopefully going to make it through. I don't really need the plant to grow new leaves. I think for import plants, especially now in autumn, winter time, it is a win if the plant didn't die and it grow roots on the side. So I think it is really a success if the plant managed to put out roots and not to kind of dry off. Yeah, so this is Hoya Picta. Sorry, I forgot to mention this is Hoya Picta. Okay, then we move on to, let me see. Yeah, maybe this one. This one here is Hoya Davidcummingii. I have two parts actually. Let me put it out. So for this one, I have mentioned in the video, the first video, the unboxing video that I have. This one here is very healthy when it comes to the leaf and also the root system. So I managed to have a bigger, I didn't need to chop it off so much. So most of the plant here is with the original roots, with the main stem and the roots. I can share this one first. It grow a lot of air root. As long as you give it a relatively humid environment, it will have a lot of air root, as you can see here, all over the place. And then there are some new growth finally pushing out here. And then I think you can see like here, some new leaf on the side of the stem. So this means that the initial assessment of this being a relatively healthier specimen when I receive is so far reflecting how the health is right now. I will have the comparison on the side of how it looks like when I just received it. And yes, then we can take a look at the cutting here. This cutting is interesting because even though this is just a cutting, which means that it doesn't have existing roots like the previous one I showed you here, it actually grows more. Look, this is a much larger new leaf, or I would say it grows faster. This is 2 new leaves here, and there's more new leaves on this side. So I think it doesn't really matter how much root it has before or how big the stem was, because all of the root already rotten. It really depends on whether that cutting is a healthy cutting. That's me trying to get a conclusion and what I have learned from this experiment. But there's a lot of air roots, as you can see in this plant. All right, then we move on to this one. So this one here, this is Hoya Sipitangensis. So Hoya Sipitangensis, it was a relatively big specimen when I received it, but I will show the reference point on the side on how it looks like when I received it. When I received this one, this is not, it didn't look really well because all of the leaves are very limb and the stems are kind of mushy, which means that it's not alive. And I remember I had a comment saying that, well, I think it's dead. Well, I am pretty happy that it did not die, at least I tried. And then it did manage to not push out new growth, but at least have some roots. A lot of roots has grown. So it helped the plant to survive. If you can see now that the leaves are very hard, this is not limb anymore. It's hard in the texture. And also all of the stem, this is the part that the original stem belongs to, which means that underneath it does potentially have a thicker root system, well, at least before. And it did have some potential new growth, like here. It's still very small, but it's a sign that the plant is trying to make it through. So yeah, this one is Hoya Sipitangensis. So this is the main one, which I thought, well, I'll try. But yeah, actually it managed to have quite a lot of air root that has grown, and then it can support the plant with more humidity. So now here again, I tried to get some stem cutting because it feels like I don't have to put all of the eggs in one basket. So this one again, maybe it's because of the stem is much shorter. It can touch the humidity or the moisture from the pon much quicker. So if you can see, this one again, it has a lot of root grown into the pon. So this one here itself looks healthy, and it has quite substantial, I would say, air roots to support its growth. Yeah, Hoya Sipitangensis. Then we move on to this one. It's in the background. I was like, shall I take it out? Oh, actually, one second. I forgot to bring the bigger one. One sec. All right, now I got the bigger one as well. This one here is Hoya Carmelae. So this is a very succulent leaf type, and it has a very relatively bigger root system. When I unbox it, you can see the reference on the side. I'm going to put it in, and I can start with the bigger one first. So this one, I didn't really put in any special care. I didn't increase the humidity. I did not give additional sunlight because I think it's relatively healthy. So I just put it in a normal room environment, and the humidity of my apartment is around 45 to 55, around like that, because I do have a humidifier, but I wouldn't say it's intense humidity. So this one is not growing a lot of air root because I didn't have a special treatment of it. But looking into the leaves, it's not shrinking. It's not like having a lot of wrinkles. So I believe this is just adapting to my room environment. And then let's take a look at the smaller one. So this one is a cutting that I have chopped up just to be safe. In case this one didn't make it, then I still have a smaller plant. So this one I did put in a humidity box, and to have some extra light on top of it. So you can see the leaves are very plumped, and let me try to get this clear. So let's see. So there is a lot of roots coming in. So this, I am pretty confident that this one will survive. It's just a little tiny plant. Yes, and then let's take a look at this one here. Let's move on to another Hoya. This is Hoya Revoluta. So this is the only plant that I did not chop up, because when I looked into the root first, it doesn't look too bad. So I can tell that the roots are alive. So I didn't want to chop it up too much and put it in a smaller container. But interestingly, this one is the only one that I didn't really see a lot of growth. But what I saw just a couple of days ago, I see that there is finally pushing up some new roots. Let's see if you can tell. Yeah, like roots over there. Yeah, that just focused. So yeah. And so I think for this plant, maybe it just takes longer time to root up and also to adapt to the environment. There's another piece of root over there. So yeah, a lot of time when it comes to Hoya or any plants, especially it's not in spring or summertime, you just need to have a little bit more patience. But when I touched the leaf, is very succulent, it's very thick. So I think it is supporting itself, just that it takes time for it to acclimate and also grow. Yeah, so I do see a number of roots, but this one relatively slower grower comparatively. Now we move on to another one. This one is Hoya Thomsonii. This one here, I have showed that the root system is pretty nice when I unboxed it. I will give you the reference on the side. So this one here didn't really do anything, but it does put out a lot of roots on the side. So again, I think for this one, as long as it is not like limbing out, like it's not getting softer and softer by day, it just takes time for this one to grow and to adapt to the environment. And I think it's fair to say that now it's not summer, it doesn't have a lot of light. Even though I give additional light for this one, it doesn't mean that it's going to grow as fast. But as long as the roots are growing out, that means this plant is indeed alive. So I think that is already a good sign. Yes, so this one is Hoya Thomsonii. Now let's move on to the last one. This one is Hoya Sunrise. So I will put in how it looks like when I just unboxed it. I mentioned that this one is very limb and also the leaves are very soft. But when I looked into the roots, even though the roots are all rotten, it start growing new roots even inside the dark, no air circulation sphagnum moss during the shipment. So I believe that this is a relatively hardy plant. So what I did is I just potted it out straight away and put it in the same spot, not going to move it around, just let it adapt to the environment. And yes, this is Hoya Sunrise. And it is still quite soft in, well, I will say most of the leaves, but it is, I mean, you can tell it is growing harder and harder, and it's just improving its health day by day. So I'll just leave it here and see how it grow back. What I assume is this one I just need to give a lot of patience and it will eventually be thriving again, hopefully. Yeah. All right, after the description about all of the Hoyas before and after, I hope that's some information that you'll be interested to know, and I can also look it backwards sometimes later if I forgot how to take care of these plants when I imported plants from Thailand. And yeah, maybe I'll give you, I don't know, maybe 2-month, 3rd-month update. Probably I'm gonna have more import as well, so yeah, until next time, bye!